everyone. My name is Amber and this is a Lovely Yarn podcast. This podcast is a fiber arts podcast. I talk about knitting, sometimes crochet, sometimes spinning. Today is mostly going to be knitting, although I do have one crochet project that I shared with you guys last episode that I wanted to answer some questions regarding because I had so many people ask me the same question. So, how has everyone been? I have been super busy because it has been extremely nice here in Pennsylvania. Last week we had an entire week of really nice weather, like 70s and 80s and sunny. It was insane. And so I just went full force, full force with outside stuff, getting our soil amended in our beds. I planted some stuff, like the stuff that I don't need to worry about, because I'm assuming we're going to have another frost at least. It's only April 20th. So I did a lot of stuff outside, and it's harder for me. It's harder for me to be, I'm not on my phone as much this time of year. And so I read every comment, and I really appreciate you guys taking the time to leave comments because that means a lot to me. But I did not respond to majority of the comments, so I do want to apologize. I really like to do that because I appreciate you guys watching and taking time to say hello. But I want to just apologize for that. It's beautiful out. Can you hear the birds? I don't know. I'm sitting next to the window. I have the window open because it's I think it's in the 70s right now, and it's like 12:30 in the afternoon. And I wanted to film this episode, and then I'm going to go out. I'm going to go outside. I was actually going to film outside, but my husband, who works from home the majority of the time, he is going to be mowing grass on his lunch break, which will be any time now. And so I thought that's not going to work because that'll be super noisy. So I'm just filming next to the open window. And I don't think this video is going to be a real long one anyway, because I have a couple of finished objects. I have a couple of things I'm currently working on, and then I want to talk about some warmer weather knitting plans that I have, and then at the end I want to finish up with a couple of podcast recommendations of some podcasts that I've been enjoying lately. So that is the plan for this episode. So let's start off with the first thing, and that is what I'm wearing. This is my Anchors summer shirt by Petite Knit, and I absolutely love this. This is the first time I've ever knit this pattern. I wasn't sure. The funny thing is when I first saw this yoke on, I think the first time she wrote this design, it was for a long sleeve sweater version. And when I first saw the yoke, I didn't like the yoke. I didn't like how, I wasn't crazy about the yoke, but it's really grown on me after seeing some other people and their finished projects of that long sleeve sweater. So when I saw that she also had a short sleeve version, and I looked at what the yarn recommendations were, and I had yarn that would work for it, I thought, well, I'm going to try that because I'm really trying hard not to buy yarn. I'm really trying hard just to use what I have. But I think I'm going to have to break that here because, as you'll see, I have some plans for some spring and summer shirts that I want to knit, and I don't have, my stash is wool. I don't have any other. I think this was the last of my more like warmer weather yarn, except for cotton that I use for knitting dishcloths. So I'm gonna have to break my little yarn buying fast, which I will talk about that in a bit. But yes, this is the Anchors summer shirt. And I'm still keeping my journal. It's stressing me out a little bit because what I basically have done, oh, there goes a tractor, that's probably loud, huh? I just kind of, so yesterday I sat down and I wrote out two different patterns that I've worked on. And so I need to have this out and take notes. I've been taking notes on patterns rather than in this journal, and then I transfer the notes into the journal. But probably what would be best is if I just write them down here while I'm doing it. It would be less redundant. I don't know if that's what I'll do because I kind of want to keep this neater as well. But I'm going to insert a picture right here, actually a video of me wearing it, showing you the whole thing because I'm out of frame. The bottom of it is out of frame. And this shirt knit up so quickly. I think I knit this in under 2 weeks, and I don't even know how. I didn't even get bored on the stockinette portion, which is all of this. It was an enjoyable knit. The yoke was super fast, even though it's a 1x1 ribbing. Sometimes that gets a little tedious, but it didn't. And I honestly don't know why this knit so quickly, why I knit it so quickly, why I didn't get bored of it. Maybe because the sleeves are short. So like, because a lot of times I do get, so I love yoked sweaters, but whenever you get to the stockinette of the body, I sometimes get bored with it. And then when you get to the sleeves, then you really get bored, or I really get bored. So perhaps it's because these are shorter sleeves and that's why it seemed to go so quickly. I don't know. But I started, first of all, the yarn I used was Drops Belle. This is the second time I've used this yarn. I'm going to talk about this more because I'm planning on getting more of it. And this is the color, I think it's called Almond Rose, but it's color number 21. I'll put it down below with all the other show notes. So I cast it on the medium size, which is the size 3. Because I didn't get gauge. I think the pattern recommends size 6 needles, and I didn't get gauge on size 6. My gauge was too big on size 6. So I went down to a 5 and I got gauge with the size 5. But then when I was doing the measurements, I was measuring for a medium, which was the 3rd size. So I did the yoke, and I did okay, so there were 5 sets of raglan increases, and then I decided it was looking too big, and then I should have cast on for a size small, which was the 2nd size. So what I ended up doing is then just stopping the increases. So there must have been another set of increases. So I must have stopped the increasing early, and then I just did a few rounds of stockinette here before splitting for the sleeves. I don't know if that's going to make sense, but basically I corrected my stitches so that I was at the number of stitches that I would have been if I was knitting a size small when I got to the end of the yoke. So does that make sense what I'm saying there? Because I don't like tight, like I don't like garments that have negative ease or even 0 ease, but at the same time I knew that I didn't want this to be overly oversized. And I'm really glad that I did that because I think it fits perfectly, or at least perfectly the way that I was imagining it to fit. And then another thing that I did was I did 9 rounds on the sleeves. I can't remember what the pattern said to do, but I must have done something different than what the pattern said because I wouldn't have written it down if not. So I did 9 rounds of stockinette before I started the ribbing. And yeah, so I really like this sweater, and I'm going to knit this again, which I'm going to talk about in my future knitting plans. Actually, why don't I just talk about it now? I'm just going to talk about it now. So I want to knit this again, and I want to knit it in this yarn. Okay, so I may knit this again, but then I also have 2 other shirts that I really want to knit. So it's like a contender. I need to decide because let's be realistic. It's the end of April. I'm not going to have as much knitting time just because I'm going to be outside more doing things. And that's just the rhythm of my life, and I'm perfectly fine with that. But I want to be realistic, and I don't want to buy yarn that I'm not going to use. And so I'm thinking I might like another one of these. And if I knit it again, I do not know the color yet. I want to use the Drops Belle because I know my gauge on it. I know that it makes a nice fabric and I like the way that it feels on me. And they don't have, Drops doesn't have, I'm thinking maybe there's 10 to 12 different colors of this yarn. I haven't really looked at the color options too much. I have used this before in like a natural color, which I actually have here. And so maybe I'll do one in this color, but then maybe I won't. I don't know. I'm still thinking about that. I found, and I think there's an online shop called Laughing Hens, and they sell this for $2 something a skein. So Drops Belle is extremely affordable yarn. I would love to knit with like more luxurious yarns, but I cannot justify the cost of that in most cases. I'm not saying I never splurged on yarn, but it's okay if you want to splurge on yarn. I'm just saying, for me personally, I want to honor my budget. So this for me is a very economical choice. Actually, all the Drops yarn is very economical. I've used Drops brand for multiple different projects. So yes, so if I knit this, I don't even know that I got to this point already. If I knit this again, which I'd really like to, maybe not this year, maybe next year, I actually want to knit it 1 to 2 inches shorter, so make it a bit more cropped, because right now I have this on with a pair of jeans. But the day I finished it, I tried it on with a dress, just a plain black dress that just kind of like a swing dress maybe. It's like just fabric kind of just flows. And it looked okay, but when I kind of held it up so that the hem was up further on my torso, it looked better with the dress. So I'd like to have one of these to wear over my dresses. I do wear a lot of dresses this time of year. I don't wear a lot of dresses in the winter. I wear mostly jeans, but this time of year I wear a lot of dresses, so I'd like to have a shirt like this to wear over on days when it's not sweltering hot out. I'm going to be honest, I don't think that this would be even a good option for a sweltering hot day, because even now where it's 70 some degrees and I'm sitting in my house, I'm feeling slightly warm. So yeah. All right. I think that's all, but I would recommend this. Let me see if there's anything else. No, I don't think so. That's all. That's all I want to say about this one. Okay. My second finished object is the Sophie Shawl, another petite knit. I talked about this last episode, I think. I really like petite knit patterns. They're very timeless and classic. I think her designs are. They're, I don't know. It's funny because there's part of me that's wants to be and is more bohemian and like just artistic and, you know. But then there's also a part of me that just the more classic pieces I wear. Hi, Ian. My son's right outside the window. I'm very distracted today. Hi.
Hi.
Did you need something?
No.
Okay. This has been a very distracting day for me. I have felt like people have had a lot of needs today. I'm not talking to you, dear. I'm talking to my friends on the internet. It started out at the very beginning of the day like that, and it's just, so I was even hesitant to start this because I thought probably as soon as I start this, somebody's going to need something. And I mean, most of my days aren't like that anymore because my youngest child is 17 now, so I don't have a lot of, I mean, there's a lot of needs that people have, but it's not like when they were little and they depended on you for everything. But for some reason, everyone today, it's been like that. So, but I'm just like, Amber, they're more important than your knitting podcast. So like I said, I was hesitant to even start this, but I thought I'm going to do it because this is the day. This is the day I can do it. But anyway, let's get back to my other finished object, and it is the Sophie Shawl. And I showed you guys the Sophie scarf several episodes ago. I love that little scarf. I'm going to be making more of them. It is so just nice and handy for when you just need something around your neck to keep you warm, but it's not super cold out. But this is my Sophie shawl. I got little wool fuzzies on it. Okay. I mean, there's really not a lot to say about this because it's so basic, but again, I think that's why I like it so much. And this was a quick knit because it's just a, it's just garter stitch and I-cord edging the whole way. She's written it for 3 different sizes, small, medium, and large. Ian, seriously?
Did you plant that flower that's under the birch tree?
That tulip's been there for years.
It has been?
It's the only one that comes up.
Okay, sorry.
Should I edit that out or leave it in? I don't know. I'll decide. Okay, so she wrote this for small, medium, and large, and I did my own thing. Because I originally thought I'm going to make the medium because I weighed my yarn and I thought I have enough to do the medium. And I wasn't sure that I wanted a large. But what I ended up doing actually, I ended up knitting the medium. So I increased until I had the number of stitches that I needed for the medium size. But then in the pattern, how she writes it is that once you get to your widest point, then you immediately start decreasing. And I didn't want to do that. I wanted to actually have like a straight section without any increases at all. So I figured out, so I increased until I had the amount of medium stitches, the amount of stitches for the medium. Okay. And then what I did is I just kept going. So that would have been up here. I kept going on just garter stitch without increases until I ran out of yarn. And I had pre-measured my yarn in the very beginning and split it in 2 so that I had the same exact ounces of yarn. That way I could kind of keep track of where I was. So yes, this is all just straight garter stitch with no increases until I think about there. And then I kept track of how many rows that was on my pattern. So then I knew how many rows I should do here of just plain garter stitch. And then once I completed that amount of rows, then I started decreasing. And I did. And then I still somehow ended up with yarn left. So I'm not really sure how that happened, but it's okay. I just didn't want to run out. So yeah, I just wanted to have a straight portion across. I didn't want it to go to a point and then immediately decrease. So this is actually rather long, but let me show you. Again, I love it. I wouldn't call this a shawl as much as I would call it a scarf because it's not very wide and I think it fits like a scarf. But yeah, this is Cloudborn Highland worsted in the Espresso Heather color. I love this color. I love this yarn. I'm super sad to say that it's discontinued. I think all Cloudborn yarn is discontinued, so that's sad. But I had bought this back when Craftsy was still a thing and they were selling Cloudborn. I had multiple skeins of different Cloudborn in different colors and of the Highland worsted. And this was the last of it, other than just some scraps. But I don't know if you can see. It's this really beautiful chocolatey brown color. And it does have very slight heathering to it, which gives it some dimension. It's not a flat yarn. I like heathered yarn. Yeah, so very easy knit. I think this would be good for gift knitting because a lot of people that I know do not wear shawls, but they would wear scarves. So this could be knit as a scarf, you know? Okay. So that's all on my finished objects. Okay, now I'm going to show you a sock. This is for my husband, whose birthday is next week, and my goal was to, I hope he doesn't watch this. So for his birthday, okay, hold on, I'm going to grab something. I'm just going to tell him he's not allowed to watch this episode. Because I told you before that sometimes I'll hear him listening to, and he doesn't watch it straight, like the whole way through, because my knitting terminology is like him talking to me about what he does for work. It's just like there's limited understanding of it. But his birthday is next week, and he loves my hand knitted socks. So I thought I want to knit him socks. And so I've been working on these, and I'm working on them in front of him because I'm always knitting socks. And so I was hoping he wouldn't say anything about them. And I often knit socks for my son Ian because he also loves to wear my hand knitted socks. But Brad actually said to me a couple weeks ago, "That's really nice yarn." And I was like, "Oh yeah? Yeah." And I was like, oh. But anyway, so yeah, these are, what is it? Supergarne Activ. I have this thing here. Let me show you. I really like this brand of yarn for socks. It is, it's just like a really sturdy, plump yarn. And I love the way it knits up. And it lasts. I have a pair of socks that I knit. They were I think they were my second pair of socks I ever knit. And I wear those socks a lot. And I just noticed this, was it last month when I wore them, that they're starting to thin out. I'm going to have to mend them. But I wear them a lot, and it's been years since I knit those. So I really like this brand. And I'll put down below where I buy most of my commercial sock yarn on Etsy. I've listed this woman's shop multiple times before. She's based out of Wisconsin. She has really good prices. The shipping is included in the price, and I always get the yarn within a couple of days. So I've just really enjoyed. Sometimes when I knit with commercial yarn, I'm just like, I just want to get these done. But I've actually really enjoyed knitting these. And I think part of it is because it's for my husband's birthday, and I know he's going to be so happy to get them. But that's the first sock. And then as you can see, I'm getting close to the end on the second sock. I probably have like 15 more rounds for the foot, and then I'll do the toe. At first I was worried that I wasn't going to get them done. I didn't realize, I did not anticipate the end of April coming so quickly. But earlier in the week, I thought, oh no, his birthday is next week. How did that happen? And so this is all, like, this is mostly what I've been knitting on. Even when I want to knit on something else, I'm like, no, I need to get these done. So I don't have much further. I cast it on, did I do 64? 64, and I'm using a size, what size is this? I think it's probably 0. No, it is. So, and I'm just making sure that my tension's loose, and I know these will fit them. 64 might seem small for a man's foot, but first of all, my husband's feet aren't big. And second of all, I like using size 0 sock needles because I feel like it gives a tighter gauge. And so I feel like that makes a sturdier fabric, which is important for socks. So yes. And with that, I painted him something because I wanted to do like a handmade birthday this year. We don't really need stuff. I mean, we're at the point, we've been married for 23 years, and we're just kind of at the point in our lives too where, and neither of us are big gifts people. It's not like I never expect like grand gifts or even anniversaries, Christmas. Like Brad and I don't really do gift exchanges a lot. I mean, if he buys me something, I'm happy to, it makes me feel good, but I'm just saying, I'm not one of those people that expect it. And he does not either, but I knew that he would appreciate this as well. Like, he appreciates handmade things. So I painted him this picture, and this is from Acadia National Park in Maine. This is Sand Beach, and then these are the cliffs with the pines, the Atlantic Ocean. So yeah, this is a place that we have gone to a lot, and so I love. When I give gifts, I love when they mean something to someone. I don't like to just buy random things. I've talked about this before, I think. So I knew that this would have a meaning to him because we've spent quite a bit of time in Acadia, in Bar Harbor. So my hubby is getting a handmade gift for his birthday. Yeah, I'll be excited to wrap these up and then for him to open them. Okay, I need to go put this away in case he comes up. I don't want him to see it. Okay, now I want to talk about this crocheted shawl that I'm doing for the prayer ministry at our church, because I had a lot of people ask me the same question about this, and so I want to answer. So that you guys, you know, I want to answer that. I don't want to leave you hanging. And I thought, instead of answering, because I haven't been having the time to reply to comments, I thought I'll just talk about it in my next episode. So this is the crocheted. I haven't knit, or I haven't done any more on it since I showed you guys last time. Again, because I've been working on those socks. But the question, so this is made by doing a granny square, folding it in half, corner to corner, and then continuing to crochet and increasing on each end. The question that was asked of me was, how big did you make your granny square? Okay, so I did about a 15-inch square, and then I folded it in half. And you fold it in half. It's noisy. I do have my window open though, and it's because it's nice. There's lots of tractors and stuff going by. We live in a rural area, and agriculture is big in this area, so lots of tractors. Okay, so yes, I did a 15-inch square, and then you fold it over in such a way that your hoop, like where you would keep, like where your working yarn is up at one of these corners. Okay, you don't want to fold it so it's down here, you want to fold it so it's up here, and then you can just keep going, increase on each side, and it'll just keep growing. Okay, so I hope that makes sense, because I don't have a pattern for this. My friend Kathy taught me how to do this at our last little prayer shawl meeting, and I had never done it before. She just showed me as I did it, and so I hope that makes sense to you guys. I'm sure you can probably Google it. I don't know how she figured out how to do that. I don't know if someone taught her that. Yeah. Okay, so oh, I forgot to show you. Okay, I wanted to talk a little bit about my Ingrid sweater. I haven't worked on this a ton because you know, I've been working on the socks, and plus I've just been doing less knitting because I can't sit still when it's so nice out. I just can't do it. Okay, so let me show you what I got here. So I believe last time I showed you, did I have the neck done? I don't think I had the neck done. So I have the neck done now. And I did use a tubular bind off for this. I love tubular bind off. It is such a nice bind off. It is more work, but it is like, it just looks so much more polished. And I started working on the other sleeve. Okay, so I haven't gone very far on that sleeve yet. Now, the reason I wanted to talk about this, even though I haven't done a lot of work on it, is because I've had a couple of questions about this. This pattern, let me see how many pages here. It could be an intimidating pattern. It's 17 pages long. It's got multiple charts because none of it is, okay, yeah. So if you're not comfortable with charts, you probably don't want to use this as your first knitting project, that you're going to use charts in. I would start with something smaller with less charts. This has a lot of charts in it. Okay, so even the pattern itself looks intimidating. But, and I also would not do this as a first, unless you're extremely ambitious and not easily overwhelmed by things, I would not do this as your first sweater either, because the construction of it is so strange. Not bad, just so different. I've never done this kind of construction before. And I had someone ask me about that because they said, I'm reading this and I just don't even understand it. So my advice to that person was just follow it. Just trust the pattern, because it doesn't really make sense reading it, but it works out. And because I remember thinking the same thing when I was sitting there and I had started this, and I'm like, what is this? I don't know what this is saying. Like, this is so strange to me. How is this going to turn out to be a sweater? You know, like the shoulders of I was just, it was so different. Not hard, just different. So if you want to knit this sweater, just trust the pattern. Petite Knit, her patterns are different as far as they can. I think they can be a bit hard to understand at times. I don't know that I'd recommend her for a brand new knitter. I remember even the no frills sweater. That was my very first pattern I knit from her, and I remember doing that with the short rows and thinking, what is she saying here? Do I do the short rows now, or do I wait to do, like, and she doesn't tell you how to do short rows. So if you don't know how to do short rows, like, some pattern designers really hold your hand, others don't. And I would say she really is not a hand holder. So I don't want to discourage you, because she has some really great patterns. And I think that I'm comfortable with them now because I know that I've knit enough of hers already. I think I've knit like 5 of her patterns, maybe even 6. So I'm getting comfortable with how she writes patterns. So don't let what I say hold you back. I just know that if this would have been my first sweater as a newer knitter, I probably would have been really frustrated. I don't know that I would have given up, because I'm pretty. I think it just would have been frustrating. You know, you could do it, and you would learn a lot, but if you get easily overwhelmed, don't do this as a first sweater. I'm gonna love this though. I can't wait to finish it. Although I will say, so I still haven't bound off at the bottom because I'm waiting to see. I wanted to finish the neck before I tried it on, because I wanted to make sure that because I knew that the neck would pull up the sweater, and I wanted to make sure that I had that finished before I tried it on. So I need to put my little, I have like little plastic things that, like a plastic tubing that you can put on your needles, and then it makes it so it stretches out so you can try it on. I need to do that before I bind off. So I haven't done that yet. But I kind of wanted to get going on the sleeves because I was losing momentum on this project because I haven't really been knitting on it a whole lot. Plus, it's getting warmer out, and I'm already feeling myself not wanting to knit on this because I want to knit summer things now. And so I thought, I need to start the sleeves so I can just kind of like pick up again and get some momentum going with this. Because the sleeves are an all over texture. They're the same textures as on the body, only they're on the sleeves. So they are a smaller circumference, but they're still, it's not any stockinette. You're doing something all the time. You're reading a chart. Yeah, and this is Cascade 220. I'll have to put the color below because I don't remember the color number. So yeah, I wanted to talk about this a little bit because I have had multiple people ask about this, and I've also had multiple people say that they want to knit this sweater, but they're intimidated by it. They've asked if it's a hard sweater. So those are just my true thoughts on it. You just have to take your time, not look at the 17 pages up front and be intimidated by it. Not look at all the charts and think, oh my gosh, I can't do this. You just you just break it up. Take some deep breaths. You can do it. Okay, so let's talk future knits, because I have a couple that I am really excited about and I really want to knit, but I don't have yarn for them. So this is where I'm going to have to break my yarn fast. And do you know how many times I've put yarn into various internet yarn shop carts and then not actually committed and purchased it? And that comes because I have a lot of yarn. And so I really try to use what I have. But like I said earlier in this episode, all of my yarn at this point, besides like an odd skein here and there, is wool. So I'm going to have, if I want to knit these summer knits, I'm going to have to break down and I'm going to have to purchase more yarn. So the first thing, well, again, I already talked about how I'd love to knit another Anchor summer tee because I really enjoyed this pattern and I want to do it shorter, a bit more cropped so I can wear it so it looks how I want it to look over dresses. And then Kadri just came out with, it's called the Surrey shirt, and I absolutely love this pattern, and I'm gonna put it up for you guys to see. I love this. I like cap sleeves. I just like cap sleeves, and this has cap sleeves, and I just love the way that this shirt looks. So I want to knit this. I saw this, I think the very first day she released this pattern. I immediately got on to look at that I think it's BC Garn Tussa Silk, and it was $22 a skein, and I think I would have needed 2 or 3 skeins. I must have needed 3, and I was like, nope, can't do it. I can't do it. I feel like maybe at one point, like when I used to work, I could have done it, but I don't work anymore. And so I'm not comfortable with spending $60 some on a summer shirt. And so then I started looking at alternatives, and one of the, I think she was a test knitter, knit it with Purl Soho linen quill, which I had already been eyeing up for a different project. Not the half and half wrap, like a lot of people. You guys all, if you've been watching me for any length of time, you know that I don't like to knit what everybody else is knitting. Like if something's really going, I'm like, no, I don't want to knit that. I'm weird that way. So I know that Purl Soho linen quill, a lot of people use that for half and half wraps, and that's not the pattern. It was another shirt, and I don't remember now. It was the good shirt. So wait, I'll put that picture up because it's also nice. And it was, a lot of people had knitted that in the Purl Soho linen quill. And I've been stalking Purl Soho for a month and a half, and I have missed so many sales on that linen quill. Mostly 20% off sales, but they just had one that was 25% off their entire website as long as it was like a Purl Soho brand yarn. And I'm just in this place right now where I just didn't feel justified in spending that money. But then I kind of regretted it. And so then I was like, well, it's probably going to go on sale again. And it just went on sale at the beginning of the week, 20% off. So not as good as 25% off, but 20% off. So it would have been $15 a skein, and I would have needed 2. So that's a $30 shirt. And to me, half the price of the BC Garn Tussa Silk, like I can justify $30. But I didn't pull the trigger. So I don't know what I'm going to do. But there, like I said, there was one woman who actually knit the Surrey shirt in the linen quill, and I really liked it. And she had written in her project notes that it had a really nice drape. So I'm probably eventually, maybe, I don't know. I might do that. I really like the look of that shirt. But we'll see. We'll see when linen quill goes on sale again. So I'm curious because I've never used that yarn. I've never used any of Purl Soho's yarn. Have any of you? And what do you guys think about it? Is it really, like, does it live up to the hype? Because I've heard lots of good things about it. So I'm curious what you guys think if you've used it. Okay. Then one other shirt that I am absolutely in love with, and I don't even know how I found this. I think I was doing a search Okay, yes, this is what it was. I was looking at, okay, I was on Laughing Hen's yarn shop looking at the different colors of Drops Belle. And then what I usually do is go on to Ravelry and I look up projects that are knit in that yarn and in the different colors, because I like to see what the colors look like with other people, on, like with their skin tones, their hair color. It just kind of helps me when I'm trying to decide. It's not foolproof, of course, but it does give a little bit more direction, because, you know, it's hard buying yarn online. The monitors, you know, screens, the colors all vary from device to device. So that's what I was doing. And while I was looking at different colors of the Drops Belle, that's how I found this project. And it is called the Seaborn Tee. It is by Herb Garden Knitwear. I love this. I love this so much. Simple stripes. I love the drop shoulder. I'm a big drop shoulder fan. The Ingrid sweater has a drop shoulder. I have clothing that I've bought at like the thrift store and stuff. If I see a drop shoulder shirt, I typically will try it on if it's my size, because I really like how drop shoulders look on me. So I want to show you like a more zoomed up picture of the hem of this shirt, because it is so different. It is unlike any hem I've seen in a shirt like this. So the reason this shirt appeals to me so much is you have just like really basic stripes. I love stripes. The really basic stripes, and then bam, on the hem you've got this pretty detail. The only thing I don't like about this is that it's knit from the bottom up. I'm not a bottom up fan. I prefer to knit garments from the top down because I like to try them on. However, when I knit a bottom up garment, what I'll do is I will use a sweater or like a shirt that I already have and I really like the length on, and I will lay it out on the bed, and then I'll put what I'm knitting on top, and then I'll just keep knitting until I get to where you would start the sleeves. So I kind of use things that I've already knitted and like the length of to monitor how much more I need to knit when I'm doing a bottom up garment, but I really do prefer top down. Could I like invert it and do top down and just change everything? I could, but for some reason, even though I've been knitting for years, the thought of that has always intimidated me, so I just don't do that. I don't think I ever have. Yeah. So anyway, that is a shirt I really like, and a lot of the people that made that actually knit it in Drops Belle, and I really like the way it looked. So my plan is, this is my plan. I was looking to buy more Drops Belle, and then I remembered that I had this shirt that I knit. I think this is called the Tip Top Tank. I knit this last year. It is way too big on me. It is. So I've worn this several times, and I've worn it over a long sleeve t-shirt, but I'm not overly crazy for it. It's not something that I reach for a lot. And I thought, why not recycle this yarn and use it to make something that I think I'm really going to like. So I have one skein, and then I have, so this is my like DK through, well, probably sport through worsted scrap bin. So there's really not full skeins in here, but there are skeins that have been left over from other projects. And when I was looking in here the other day, I found that I have this, and then I have this whole tank top. And I think this was like 6 or 7 skeins worth. So I'm thinking I'm going to have enough. I need to weigh it all and see if it matches the requirements for the pattern. But I think it's going to be good. So I'm going to rip this out, and I'm going to knit something that I think I'm really going to like more. Now, I'm looking in my scrap bin here, and I'm thinking, what can I hold with it for the stripes? And so I might do that. I don't know yet. That is an option. I would like for this, I would definitely jump on this if this yellow was a bit more green and a bit more deeper, like for instance like this. That would really be nice, but this is a wool, and this is all I have left. I don't even know where this came from. What did I knit? I must have been something I gave away, because I don't have anything. that I know of, that I can think of, that I knit with this. So this is an option because this is actually a cotton blend. I think this is Quince & Co. This is left over from my Rift tee that I knit several years ago. That would work. If I had to use wool in the stripes, I'm not worried about that because it's just a few stripes. So I'm not really worried about that. That could maybe be an option, although I don't know that I have enough of that. No, see, I don't know. Maybe that. I have to figure that one out. If I was going to buy yarn for this, I would probably do a dark green or even a navy for the stripes. But I don't want to buy yarn if I don't need to, if I can use something that I already have. And another option that I have is holding, so I have some stroll fingering, although it is tweed. No, never mind. I don't want to do a tweed stripe. I could look at my fingering weight yarn and hold it double to get a DK to hold with this. So that is my plan for the Seaborn tee. So many potential possibilities. It's really fun for me to look at your stash and be like, what can I do with this beautiful stash? And just let it inspire you. Or to look at a pattern and then think, okay, I have so much yarn. Okay, so for instance, if you have a pattern that needs DK weight yarn, but you have fingering weight yarn, if you have enough, you can just hold it double and make that pattern. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think that we limit ourselves sometimes with our yarn because it's a certain weight and the pattern calls for a different weight, but we can hold things double or triple even, as long as we have enough yardage. So sometimes the yardage, especially when you're knitting garments, sometimes that can stand in the way, but things for like hats or socks, and actually anything other than a big shawl or a sweater, there's lots of possibilities. Okay, so one other thing I want to talk about. I want to talk about two podcasts. One is one I've been watching for years, and the other one is brand new. And the first one is Ina Knits. And you guys, a lot of you probably already know and have watched Ina's podcast. I've been watching her for years. I don't even know when I started watching her. I don't even know how long she's been podcasting. I feel like she's been podcasting a really long time. Maybe she and I started around the same time. But I love watching her podcasts. I always enjoyed watching her Vlogmas episodes. I always found them very interesting. Does she live in Norway? She lives in a Scandinavian country. I think she lives in Norway. But she had not filmed for a very long time. And then one day, I think it was, I don't know, this year sometime, a new video came up in my feed and I was like, what? She's back. And so she has put a couple of episodes up since, and she is, I just love watching her. She's just very calming to me, and I just really enjoy. And she's like always been a favorite, so there's comfort in that too. I hope she keeps recording. I understand if she doesn't, but selfishly, I'm like, please keep recording. Please don't stop again. So yeah, she is back. For those of you who maybe have watched her and didn't know that she was podcasting again, or for any of you who have never heard of her, I really enjoy her podcast. And then the other podcast, which is a pretty new one, is called Fruitful Hands. This is a mother and daughter duo. I think the mother's name is Diane or Diana. I don't remember the daughter's name. They are so fun to watch. They're such a joy to watch. I feel like if we were neighbors, we could knit together a lot. I mean, they don't know me, but I'm just saying from what I've watched, I feel like we would get along well. And it's just been, they have really inspiring episodes, and they're just super, they seem super friendly and sweet. Very prolific knitters. Interesting yarn choices. I just find them extremely inspiring and also calming. I talked about this before. I'm drawn to calming podcasts. So yeah, check them out. I will link both of those down below in the details of this episode. That, my friends, is the end of this episode. I am going to stop here. I see I'm up to like 50 minutes, so I actually talked longer than I thought I would. I figured I'd have like 20-25 minutes in and I would be out of things to say, but apparently not. Thank you again for all of your support. If you would like to give me a thumbs up, or if you like this video, I would greatly appreciate it. Or if you enjoyed this and you haven't subscribed yet, please do that. And also, I have a link down below to my Ko-fi, coffee. I never know how to pronounce that. To my coffee account. That is if you'd like to support this channel financially. I don't make money off of YouTube. I've tried to get monetized. I just tried again a couple of weeks ago and I got another denial, and I'm like, I don't even know why my channel's not being approved, and they don't make it easy to find out. And I've tried to reply to the denial emails and I have never gotten a response back. I have no idea, because I watch so many podcasts and the majority of them have commercials in them, so I know they're getting monetized, but for some reason YouTube doesn't want to monetize me. So it's okay, because I'm always on the fence about, do I really want commercials in my podcast episodes or not? You know, I know they can be kind of annoying, but then also they could be kind of helpful too, you know, making some money off of it. Not that that's my priority, and that's definitely not why I do this. I enjoy doing this. I enjoy sharing my knitting stuff, stories, and everything with you guys. I never started this channel to make money, but if you would like to financially support the channel, I would greatly. I would be very appreciative for sure, because yeah. Anyway, awkward. I always get awkward when I talk about that part, but that link is down below as well. So those of you who won the giveaway from last week, your packages have been sent out. I think that one of you have received it already, and the other one was going to Canada, so I'm not sure how long that will take, but it has been sent out. I sent those last week. And so I hope you enjoy your goodies. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a wonderful spring. I realize some of you aren't having spring right now. Some of you are going into fall. Some of you are still much further north than me and are still getting snow, and I'm sorry about that. But anyway, yeah, whatever weather you're having, enjoy it, because it's just, you know, all weather has its purpose, right? There's always a purpose. And thank you guys for watching, and I will talk to you next time.